Solomon asked for a wise and an understanding heart. A wise and an understanding heart. This begins from his relationship with God. This began by God coming to the man. It's very important. Because some of us maybe see people in the world behave unseemly and we're like, why would this person do this? Because if somebody doesn't have that seed of godliness in them, or if it's not defined distinctly, they're not able. The carnal man cannot receive neither discern the things of the Spirit. They can't. They're foolishness to him. That's how, for most of the part, the fallen world lives. That even shudders the more when we find that even Christians are dealing with this disease, this indifference. As a pastor, sometimes I sit with people and somebody comes and tells you, Pastor, pray for me. My boss wants to fire me. This boss is wicked. This boss is evil, very evil. Let's cancel every demonic operation. I think my boss is using witchcraft and all these kinds of things. And by divine revelation, God tells you, no, the problem is not the boss. The problem is this Christian. That they do not know how to behave themselves around anybody greater than them. They speak to their boss like they're speaking to their peer. And somehow this Christian wants God to ignore his principles and laws and work on their behalf because they can apply themselves to faith. And I always emphasize to believers that faith in expression, if we are even having a conversation of manifesting our faith, we must respect the womb of wisdom. That faith without wisdom cannot work. You have firstly to know the will and purposes of God, then align your faith according to his will. The Bible says if we pray according to his will, then we know that he heareth us. And if he heareth us, then we know that we shall have the petitions of which we ask. So I must know the will of God. I must connect to the wisdom of God before I apply myself to faith. One time somebody came to me and they wanted to get married. And I told them, you know what? As your pastor, I feel in my spirit that this relationship is not going to work. This is not the man for you. Yes, he's born again, but there's something about him that you don't know, and you're going to discover it a few days later. I was talking to my spiritual daughter. And she told me, but Papa, you're a man of faith. I know that if you pray, he can be mine. You see that kind of thing. So I told her, even if I'm a man of faith, I am subject to the will and purposes of God, and this is not the will for you. She said no. Went ahead and they broke her heart so badly. So badly. Then she comes back and said, Papa. I told her, sorry. In my head, but while I'm doing like this, on this side, I'm like, sorry. Don't worry. He was a frog. I know. Jesus will help you. Because it's better to stay single than get in the wrong relationship. That's the truth. But when you get in, some of you would even pray you're in a deeper prison, like a physical prison cell. You see what I'm saying? And I know that some people have really, really made such mistakes. It's a hard conversation. Ask any pastor, counseling. But for us, again, to deceive ourselves that because people walk to the altar, therefore God has joined them. You know, people say, whosoever the Lord joins together, because they've come on our altars, it doesn't mean that God has joined them. Because God, we are the confirmation of what God has established. Right? We don't establish for God to confirm. Am I clear? Yeah. It's his idea. If the Bible tells you do not be unequally yoked with an unbeliever, there is no prayer that can yoke you. Oh, no, I'm speaking the truth here. I know they will not, I won't have amens, but that's the what? The truth. Praise the Lord. Prudence.